Hey, good afternoon. I'm back again. This is Chief T. It's another beautiful day. It's another great day. Hey, we're talking with all of my entrepreneur friends, business partners, anybody in the finance game, which basically trying to share wealth topics and wealth tips. Think about this. Today is National Financial Day, Financial Planning Day, and so we're trying to put you in a position to where you can grow or expand your wealth. So today, I've been talking about different aspects as it pertains to money with my extradition movement counterpart, Mr. Brian Woods. And right now, I'm about to get into a quick video that shows you how most Americans view money prior to becoming, I guess you could say, adults. And who better to tell us than Mr. Theo Huxtable? Hey, y'all gonna like this video. Hey, Brian, let me know if you can hear it when I get ready to play it. That way, everybody has the audio. All right. So let me see here. Let's see here. Oh,
Your mother asked me to come up here and kill you.
Hey, I know
You know what?
what you're gonna say, and it's under control. So, no problem.
Right. How do you expect to get into college with grades like this?
No problem.
Huh?
See, I'm not going to college.
Damn right.
I am gonna get through high school and then get a job like regular people.
Regular people.
Yeah, work at the gas station, drive a bus, something like that.
So what you're saying is your mother and I shouldn't care if you get D's because you don't need good grades to be regular people.
Right.
Okay. Oh, suppose you graduate from high school. Let's say you just slide by. All right. Now you got to find a job. Now, what kind of salary do you expect for a regular person?
Mm, $250 a week.
$250 a week?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'm going to give you $300 a week. Yes, indeed. $300 a week, $1,200 a month. All right?
Great, I'll take it.
Yes, you will. And I will take $350 for taxes.
Whoa.
Huh? Yes. Now, because see, the government comes from regular people first. Now, how much does that leave you with?
850,000.
All right. Now you've got to have an apartment because you are not going to live here. So, an apartment in Manhattan will run you at least $400 a month.
I live in New Jersey.
All right. In New Jersey, you got to have a car.
I ride a motorbike.
You need a helmet. Figure 100 months for clothes and shoes.
200. I want to look good.
Okay, so what's that? What's that leave you?
$200. So it's no problem.
There is a problem. You haven't eaten yet.
I can get by bologna and things. So I got everything I need plus $200 left for the month.
You plan to have a girlfriend?
For sure.
Regular people.
Living out your regrets.
That was a good video. What do you think, Brian? What do you think about that video, man?
Man, I tell you what, man. Hey, Jason, thanks for bringing me on,
I'm
man.
just for the
Hey,
chosen few.
I tell you what, Jason, that video
Because
brought
now
back
every
a
qualifying
lot
new
of memories,
university
man. I
Blake
love the
student can get
Cosby
up to
story,
a $3,000
but at the same
scholarship,
time, hey,
starting with your
he
first
had a
course,
valuable lesson
scholarships for
learned
early risers,
with his father,
95ers, and
and
5-year-olds.
what he
For
learned
everyone
was
hard at work,
basically
no
this:
matter where you work.
that you can't go off of um not having a plan going out to college. You got to be able to know how much it takes to run your whole household financially, so you can be able to know what you're up against as you go forward from year to year. And even back then, I know that time frame was, about, I think I was like a young kid at that time when he had that actual conversation with him. But see, he had good guidance of somebody that understood um the way that money works, at least running a household. And that right there was a valuable note. Even if somebody can look at that over and over again, hey, that right there hit the nail on the head. Because even some adults, even in their maturity of being adults, they still don't get it because they haven't been taught the right way. But Theo definitely learned the right way from his father, Mr. Huxtable.
Oh yeah, most definitely. See, the thing is, we all could become wealthy, and wealth is possible, but we got to have a plan. And Theo, off of bologna sandwiches and whatnot, it was a plan. Yeah, you're right, but it wasn't a good plan. And so, my mentor, our mentor, Mr. Charles Ivy, always saying, uh, when you know better, you do better. And the difference between having a financial plan and just having advice is you implementing course of actions that lead you to desired results. So I want to quickly talk about one of the areas that we really don't talk about when it comes to finances, but yet it's your number one expense. In the chat, I want you all to tell me what your number one or what you think your number one expense is. In the chat, I want to look all across the world and see what everybody's saying is their number one. And I want to beg to differ that most of us don't even know what that is. But you know what? I think I'm gonna do an audible. Instead of talking about our number one expense, I want to talk about an asset real quick. I want to talk about asset. And I'm not gonna do all the talking. I'm gonna just let the video play. I'm gonna do audible real quick, and I'm gonna share this video. I just was able to find it, and so I'm gonna share this video, and I'm gonna let the videos explain it. Then we're gonna come back, Brian, and we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, awesome.
Let me see something. I can get this right. Okay, okay, got it. Share system audio. Okay, here we go. Bam, got it. All right.
So I'll double check that in a second. So let's put this in context for you guys.
All today, unless anybody's got
2 million, your cash flow is negative 6 months, right? So in other words, you're broke by June. Your income is ridiculous. You make $1 million a year, 83,000 a month, but your cash flow is terrible because you're spending 2 million a year. So you broke by June or the 15th of every month. So your cash flow is terrible. Take a school teacher, she makes 80,000 a year, but her bills are 40,000. Her cash flow is 2 years. You see, so what a lot of people focus on is their income. Very few people focus on their cash flow. Once your cash flow is positive, you have all the disposable income in the world to do things like a private reserve account. So that's where the ultimate goal is. When we talk about pulling the curtain back and removing the secrets of the wealthy, this gentleman here is the person that can bring you those secrets. Oh, he's got a surprise with him tonight. What's up, Eric? Eric, let me bring you up, big guy, so everybody can see you and make you co-host. Who do you have there with you, man? Uh-oh, hold on. I think I got to put you in a situation where you can unmute yourself. Okay, now you can come off mute.
all right. Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you, man. Who's on your lap there?
This is my son Cohen. He is 5 months old, and he's been his mother's care today. So he was supposed to be down and asleep, but he woke up, and I grabbed him, and she doesn't know he's awake yet. I'm just going to give her a break, and he's going to hang out with me while we kind of go through all this stuff with you guys. And I'm excited to be able to go through all this stuff with you guys, and he's going to be the youngest learner on the call today, unless anybody's got somebody younger than 5 months listening in with us.
I see why you're so wealthy, Eric. You start them off early.
You know what? It's one of those things that we want to be able to show our kids what it is that we do. It's the hard work that we put in and all those things. And then also the fact that the reasons why we do it, right? It's not that we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for those that we love. So I'm excited to be here. And I might kill my video here for a little while and just share my screen, but we'll be on here, and I'm excited to be able to go through all this with you.
Okay. So Eric, I'm passing you the controls now. Do us a favor, man. We know about WealthMax. But tell us about Eric Elam, the man. Tell us about Kyle Choice Financial and Eric before you get into the product. A lot of people don't know your history, your story, and how strong you guys are.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely share that with you guys. So a little bit about me. I got into this industry kind of on accident about 10 years ago. My short story is I grew up in a very middle income family. My dad was military for 31 years. But I'm the child of his old age, so he retired when I was 5 years old. After 31 years, they kind of kick you out of the Army and say that's all you get, right? And so he never went back to work. So he was always home and available to Sergeant Major me, which was absolutely no fun, right? So I turned 18 and graduated the same week. I packed a trailer and I was out that week. With that beater station wagon, that Salvation Army we shopped our whole life, literally the day before I moved, I've got a trailer in the driveway, leaving in the morning. I come home, brand new car sitting in the driveway. Then my parents go to Alaska, Hawaii, Mexico. They spent 9 months straight vacation in Europe where they went and visited or where they met when they were in the military. And that's what they went out and did. They started traveling the world and doing all these things they'd never done when we were at home. They've been waiting 13 years for their last job to move out of the house, right? So that was how I got started. Well, what happened to me is then I go out and I move on my own. I'm waiting tables, riding a bicycle. 3 years go by, my parents get in a car accident in Mexico and both pass away. I'm 21. I'm the one who gets the phone call and have to figure out how to deal with all of that crazy. Come to find out, secretly, my dad had been a millionaire next door our whole lives. Never let us know about it, right? We learned how to hustle and how to save a dollar. We never knew anything about investing. Come to find out, my dad had a couple $1 million in the bank, but he had no will, no trust, no estate plan in place. He had 3 kids from a previous marriage in their 40s, 3 kids from the current marriage in their 20s. Everybody's got daddy issues. Our mom and dad died, just their dad died. And then put a little cherry on top of that, they passed away in the beginning of 2008 when the market was just getting ready to tank and we knew nothing about it. Completely on accident, not knowing any better. We accidentally took all their money out of the stock market and put it in the bank account because that's all we knew. So in 2008, when the market was tanking, we accidentally earned 5% because banks used to pay you. And then while everyone else lost their shorts. And so through that, I ended up going back to college, looking into purchasing real estate, doing a business investment, and needed a job to get real estate investment, and ended up at a financial planning firm and got to learn a lot of things. I sat down with a lot of financial advisors myself and wasn't excited by what they were sharing with me. They all lost money too. They couldn't explain why, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I went out on a quest to learn it. Now I train advisors all over the country on exactly how to be able to avoid those types of mistakes and change what the average advisor is telling you, because the average advisor is not an advisor. He's just a salesman. You walk into his office, he's got a great plan for you. It's to buy his stuff. And that's all they're looking at. We're looking here to make sure that we give you a real plan. And that's where WealthMax comes in, right? We're experts who run financial planning firms, across the country already. And we're hired as experts as part of your organization to be able to fulfill that. When you have questions, we're here to help and to answer those questions and help you understand what is best for your particular situation. I mean, we talk a lot about the private reserve account. We talk a lot about land, but those are just a couple of pieces of the bigger picture that we take a look at, from, your tax planning to your cash flow, through retirement and 401ks. We're here to be able to help. Cal Choice Financial, we are an independent company. We've been around the financial arm's been around for about 4 to 5 years, and our land banking division's been around for 10. We're an Inc. 5000 company. We're one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the country, right? So some incredible things we've been doing and a lot of things we have going on. That's a little bit about me, Brian.
Hey, that sounds good, man. That's a heck of a summary, man. I think I heard this story before, but it's so compelling, man. Just to see what you've overcome and to know that you took the legacy and continued to run with it, and whether it was by mistake or not, man, we appreciate you for being here for sure. So with that being
Absolutely.
said, everyone wants to know, why do we call it a private reserve account? What exactly is private banking? Why is this better than the stock market? Why does it have a floor and a ceiling? Let's talk about all those things. You said something about your slides earlier. Do you have something to set up, or you want to? How do you want to do it with the baby?
I can do it. I can share a screen and I'll share our screen and I'll kill my video. You guys cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, here we go. So I'll share my screen first. Let's see here. This is select the window. I got advanced. So share my whole desktop. PowerPoint, virtual. Nope. All right, we'll just do this. This looks like I should be able to make this work. Let's see here. There we go. You all can see my screen?
Yep, it is populating. It's populating as we speak.
Perfect. Okay. And I'm gonna kill my video now and make this thing get big. And we'll see if this whole thing will work as we go through this all.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. So where this really starts, guys, what is the private reserve account? How does it work, and what are all those details? So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about all that stuff right now. Let's see if I can make this thing work, go forward for me. There we go. It's working. All right. So the private reserve account, what is it? The private reserve account is a place where we're able to become our own bank, right? These ideas have been around for a long time, since the 80s, and even honestly for hundreds of years in many cases. These are tools that the wealthy have been using. What we've done is we've merely updated them with new tools that didn't exist previously and that the wealthy are now using for parts of their plan. But also, we're being able to help you bring this to everyday people where you don't have to be, the Vanderbilts or the Rockefellers, which are some of the people who first use accounts and programs exactly like this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to kind of run through the private reserve account. Now, I know we got a lot of people on here who've seen some of this, and some of you guys who haven't seen some of this. So we're going to actually start off with a video. What I want to share with you guys on this video is, it's called our private reserve account, and you guys can go check it out. If you want to see this video again or use it to share with somebody, all you got to do is go to Google and type in MWRPRA, and you'll find this little 2-minute cartoon video, guys. What this 2-minute cartoon video is going to talk about is becoming your own bank. And if you could be your own bank, what are the benefits you'd give yourself, right? Because you think about it, you give the bank money, what do they pay you? They pay you almost nothing. And then what does the bank do with your money? They take your money and they lend it out to others. They take that money and they give it away and make a lot more money on your money on a credit card at 29% than they're paying you. And yet when you check your bank account, it still says your money's in your account, even though the bank gave it away. Wouldn't it be nice if you could do that? So pay attention to this 2-minute video, guys, and write down any notes about the things you really like and want to pay attention to, and we'll get a chance to go from there. So let's first start off with this 2-minute video. We should be able to hear my audio. If for some reason you cannot hear my audio, Brian, please let me know. Here we go.
Nope, you sound fine.
Old, broke. Well, that's not good. Seriously, though, this is where millions and millions of people are headed if something doesn't change now. And that's why at CountChoice Financial, we created the Private Reserve Account, a simple way for mainstream Americans to secure their retirement, protect their loved ones, and fund their dreams along the way. Here's how it works. Imagine creating your own banking alternative, and not just some ordinary bank, but the ultimate bank. Think about that for a minute. If it's your bank, what benefits would you give yourself? It would be a bank where your savings account actually grows by being linked to stock market gains, so you can benefit from those big rallies. And as your money grows, the gains are locked in, so no more of those scary drops. That's a win-win. You'd be able to access the growing value of your account anytime you want for any reason you have. No taxes, no qualifications, no questions asked. After all, it's your money. Oh, did we mention no taxes? And since it is your bank, you'd be earning the interest on the money you borrow from yourself while you pay yourself back. What? Let's keep going. You would have no early withdrawal penalties, unlimited contributions, and a college planning fund with no restrictions. When properly structured, your bank could pay off your mortgage in half the time, could provide living benefits for critical and terminal illness. And if something ever happened to you, your ultimate bank would be transferable to your heirs tax-free. Seems impossible, right? Nope. You just didn't know that the wealthy have been doing this for years. Now you're wondering, so why doesn't everyone open a private reserve account? Exactly. The real question is, why don't you? Contact your CalChoice financial representative today to set up your private reserve account and help put a stop to America's retirement crisis. CalChoice Financial, we're with you all the way.
All right. So that's a really cool video. What I want to share with you guys is, this idea of being able to put your money away in a place where you can make money when the market's up, never lose it when it's down, access it tax-free, and all these other things, right? These are all my most common response is that sounds too good to be true. How is that even legal? And it all is, as a matter of fact, the legal part is the most important part. Understanding the rules is what the wealthy have been paying for a long, long period of time, right? We want to make sure that we really understand how all of this stuff works. And we'll get into some of that today. Again, and some of it we'll be able to get more in depth when we have, more one-on-ones with you guys who are qualified to go through all the details of this. But where we want to start is the bank, right? Because right now, most of us put our money in the bank. And as we mentioned, right, the banks are paying us nothing. If you're with one of the big three, that national average for them is about 0.01%. That means if you put $100,000 with them, you make $10 a year interest, which is taxable, by the way. And then those banks turn around and loan out that money, sometimes multiple times over, and they make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on the money you're giving them, which essentially you're giving them a loan agreement. You're loaning them your money in that saving and checking account for them to take and then return and loan out to other people, make that money. Then if you're crazy enough to want to borrow some of that money, you've got to qualify just to borrow it, pay them interest. The bank sets the loan terms, when and how you're going to pay them back. And that dollar does one thing for you. It buys you a house, a car, a purse, or a pizza, whatever it is you're buying on your credit card. But ultimately, that money makes money for the bank. And the crazy part is this isn't even new for most of us. Most of us know this, and yet we're trained from a young age to do exactly what we were told, right? Grow up, go to college, get a good job with a 401k and benefits, work for a long time, and you should be okay, right? But how well has that worked for any of us on this call today? What's the information that was missing being taught to us? How many times have we been saving and watched that be decimated, only to have to delay our retirement further? I was just talking with one of my colleagues today who his own father, right? He was supposed to retire in 2009. Because of 2008, he worked until 2015, right? That's so common for us to deal with. And was that any part of his plan? Did he do anything wrong? Did he do anything against traditional wisdom? No, that's the problem with traditional wisdom. Traditional wisdom, you have to sometimes take a look at who's teaching it. Who benefits from us buying 401ks and putting all our money in the stock market? Those people who are selling the 401ks and doing all of those things, right? So we want to take a look at, now don't get me wrong, 401ks can be fantastic investments. I help a lot of clients do it. I even help businesses set them up in some cases, but it doesn't mean it's right for every person. Just like I think a chainsaw is a great tool, but it's not the best tool for every job, right? We want to make sure that we have the proper application of the tools that we use for the proper job. And this is where the private reserve account is really such a unique and diverse tool that can fit in so many people's portfolios. But now I'll be honest with you, it's not for everybody. Some people, I tell them, this isn't for you. If you like some of the features, we can find those elsewhere. But here are the things that stand out most. First off, the fact that you can make actual money, because if it's your bank, you'd want to be able to make real money. So we link it to the stock market because we like the gains. But this is banks. We can't afford to ever lose this money. So it's got to be guaranteed to never lose money. Now, how many of you even knew this was a possibility, right? It's actually been around since for over 25 years. Since the mid-90s, this has been around and available. But it's not sold by many of the big wirehouses, the Fidelities, the Charles Schwab, the TD Ameritrade. And that's part of the reason you've never heard about it. The mainstream is not the people who are doing this. Now, I promise you, the wealthy have been doing this for a long, long time. There's no qualifying to borrow this money because it's your own money. And you can earn interest on the money you borrow from yourself the same way the banks do. And we'll get into how all this works. You set the loan terms, deciding if you want to pay yourself back and if you do win, right? So you can do this tax-free at any age. This is the big thing. Because most of us here who are entrepreneurs, we don't want to wait till we're 60. We don't want to have to wait 10, 15, 20 years or however long it is before we can touch our money without penalty. We want it to be tax-free also because guess what? Taxes are not going to be likely lower in the future. We're actually at an all-time low in taxes, and our government's kind of out of money and looking to spend more. The likelihood is that taxes would be significantly higher in the future. So if we can avoid those taxes, all the more power to us. And lastly, that dollar can now serve multiple purposes. As opposed to having $1 do one thing, it can be a retirement account, an emergency fund, a lending alternative, a college planning vehicle, long-term care planning, and many other different things. Now, often when I go through this, people are like, well, this just sounds too good to be true. How come I've never heard of this? And I kind of already touched on that, right? It's not in the interest of many of the big popular investment houses where they make money is selling every single person who walks in the door 100% the stock market, saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, right? And don't get me wrong, we help people buy the stock market. The stock market is fantastic, right? But it's not the only thing. It's great as a part of a diversified portfolio. It by itself can never be an actually diversified portfolio. As much as you might be told, oh, I've got stocks and bonds, I'm diversified, you're 100% in the paper markets. You've got no hard assets such as real estate, no business interest, and you've got no other guaranteed or fixed types of accounts. You need to have other diversified investments. The wealthy do, so why don't you? So I'm going to kind of skip over this next slide. It really gets deep into the legal portion of all the laws and rules and regulations regarding this. Just want you to know that in order for it to be tax-free, the IRS actually regulates it very stiffly with rules that were created in the 1980s because the Vanderbilt, the Rockefellers, and the Kennedys were abusing the system so badly. Now, what they did was completely legal. The IRS just didn't like how much they were doing it, so they kind of changed the rules. But as long as we understand those rules, we can have accounts that are exactly the same, right? And we just have to understand these guidelines that they have set up. But when we understand and follow these IRS guidelines, the way that it really works is this. You're able to get those tax-deferred gains. You're able to access that money tax-free in the future. You're able to make money when the market's up, never lose it when it's down. As long as you understand and follow these correct IRS guidelines, you can put an unlimited amount of money away. I literally have clients who put away $250,000 to $1 million per year in these accounts. It grows tax-free. They can access it tax-free, leave it behind tax-free. Right? These are all things that are completely legal as long as we follow and regulate the correct amounts with the IRS guidelines. You can access it, again, tax-free or as a retirement account alternative. There's no early withdrawal penalties, no late penalties. If you leave money in your 401k too long, the IRS mandates you pull it out because they want their taxes. The long-term care alternative, to be able to help take care of that. Loan and lending, we can talk about that a little bit more. College planning, mortgage acceleration, it's liquid and available. And we'll talk about that. There are one or two caveats on liquidity and availability, but for the most part, one of the most liquid accounts you'll find out there with good growth. You can earn interest on that borrowed money, and because it's a private reserve account, it also leaves money behind tax-free to your heirs because the IRS has mandated that that's how it's allowed to be done. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these too good to be true pieces. The first too good to be true piece is this idea that you can make money in the stock market and never lose it when the market's down, right? They go, how's that even possible? How can you do that? Whatever. Well, let's first focus on what we're all taught, how we're all taught to make money. Because if you listen to anybody on the TV or the radio, they're going to say something like, well, if you just put your money in the stock market and you invest in some good growth stock mutual funds, you're going to average 8, 10, 12% a year over time. And when you get to retirement, you're going to have $4.2 million and you won't need anything else. And you're going to be able to retire just great, right? We've all heard that before. The problem is that all these financial advisors and all these guys on the TV and the radio, they are focused on the average. Now, first off, nobody on this call wants to be average, but watch what happens when you focus on averages, because averages, unfortunately, are not real, right? Watch what happens when you take an average. The way you find an average is very, very simple. You simply add up all the numbers. So I want you guys to take a minute and add up these numbers with me. Actually, take a look at the math. Minus 50 plus 50, that's equal to 0. Plus 50 minus 30, that's equal to 20. So you take a look at this. Over 4 years, you earn 20%. To get the average, you divide by 4. That means you average 5% a year. So if you take that $100,000 in the middle of the screen and you get 5% a year for 4 years, that's a little over $5,000 a year. After 4 years, you're going to have $121,000. That's not too bad. This math makes sense. Every time you do it on your calculator, if anybody did pull out their calculator, you'll find it's exactly correct. The problem, though, is that this math is entirely incorrect. It's very, very misleading. Let me show you what would really happen. If you take that $100,000 and you lose 50%, you've only got 50 grand left. Now, if you make 50% back, you're doing it on half as much money. Half of 50 is only 25. So that means you now started with 100, you end with 75. Does that look like 0% interest to any of you? Or does that look like you lost money? Keep that going. You end up with $21,000 less than you started with, not $21,000 more, and some dude in a suit is going to try and convince you that you average 5%. Do we have a problem? Of course we do. And these are made up numbers to prove the point, but let me show you some numbers that most of you on this call will probably remember. This is what's commonly referred to as the lost decade or the S&P 500. Why is it called that? Because we take a look at this. It started off with the dot-com bubble burst, 9/11 and Enron, 3 years of negative losses. Keeping going. Then we had a few years of recovery. We got back up to 2007. We're back up to whole. And then 2008 turned around and slapped us in the face. Many of us remember this year. And then you take a look at several more years, and you got 20 up to 2011, and you got this, got all these returns. Take a look at the average you got over this 11-year period of time. That average is 1.95%. For 11 years, we averaged less than 2%. That not god awful. Even worse though is inflation kept going, so we actually lost money safely. If you had $500,000 sitting in a bank account earning 1.95, you'd have 618 after 11 years. But inflation would be higher, so it would be like you lost money. But even worse, most of us didn't have our retirement accounts in the bank. What actually happened to us is we lost money. We made it back. We lost it again. We made it back. And after 11 years, we didn't have 618. We barely had what we put into it. And for most of those 11 years, we had less than we put in. Even worse than losing money is losing time. Like Brian alluded to, start our kids young. Why? Because the more time you have, the more money you're going to make. Well, unfortunately, here we all lost 11 years. It's as though you could have started when you were 11 years older and it wouldn't have made any difference. Why? Because you started at the exact same place 11 years later that you would have started 11 years earlier. So for most people, they lost a quarter to a third of their working careers not making any money. Even worse though, that red line and that blue line are exactly, or the green line, the red line, the blue line, yeah. Those are exactly identical averages. They both average 1.95. This is the problem with financial advisors and gurus who tell you things like, well, if you average 6 or 12 or whatever percent, you're going to have this big pile of money. That assumes you get exactly 12% every single year with no fluctuation. Now, if anybody knows a place to get a guaranteed 12% a year return with no fluctuation, please put it in the chat box. I think we'd all like to hear about it. I've yet to have anyone give me a guaranteed 12% a year, no fluctuation, right? That's where we're all looking at. And so without that, none of us are going to end up on what these lines these financial advisors are telling us we're going to end up with. And that's where we take a look at, look, what if there was a way where we could simply make money when the market was up, but never lose it when it was down? That'd be better, right? Of course it'd be better. Unfortunately, that would also be too good to be true, right? I told you, reality is steeped in all of this. There are rules and regulations, and everybody's got to get theirs in this. But what if we could simply make some of the ups? So we don't get all of the ups and none of the downs. What if we only got some of the ups? So let's say the most we could make in any given year was 12%, right? So the most we could make was 12%. So there in 2003, we don't make 27%. We don't even make half that. We only get 12. 2006, we don't get 15. We only get 12, but we just don't go backwards. So we hit 2008 and we don't spend any time going backwards. You're going to have more or less money. When you take a look at it, even though we're not getting as big a gains, we end up with a lot more money over the same period of time. Why? Because we don't spend any time getting back to where we used to be, earning back money we used to have. Those first 3 years, the stock market went down. We sat level. We didn't make anything, right? But then the first year the market started making money, we don't have to make as much because we're already making money. The market is spending 6 years just getting back to the starting line. Can you imagine starting a race and having to run backwards before you got started? That's what the stock market did to people for 11 years. And this isn't a new thing. It's been doing it forever. That's where simply protecting your money coming up to that 2008, again, market crashes, we lock our gains in. We don't have to spend any time getting backwards. We avoid those 2 steps backwards, right? So we're able to continue to earn interest by not having to make as much on the upside. We're able to still have significantly more money with far less risk, right? This is how we're able to make money inside these private reserve accounts. I'm not even going to embarrass anybody and say, well, which of these do you want? Because we all want more. Now, this talks about earning money, right? Earning money is fantastic, but I want to talk to you guys about one thing that people like to do more with money even than earn it, and that's spend it, right? People love to spend money. So let's talk about one of the ways we're all trained to go spend money. Most all of us buy cars, and we're all trained to buy cars to go out and buy a good car loan. We go out and buy a $25,000 car. We end up paying $471 a month for 60 months. We end up paying $3,000 in interest. So we pay $28,000 for a $25,000 car that at the end of 5 years is worth nowhere near $25,000. And once most people pay off that car, what do they do next? They go buy another one. right? They just go out, man, that was fantastic. Man, have another, sir. Now, a smarter way to buy a car is to pay cash for that car. You got to save up that money first, and nobody got time for that. But let's say we find somebody who's got some time, they save up that money and they buy that car. Well, they pay 25 grand for it, but at the end of 5 years, it's still worth nowhere near 25 grand, and there's no money in their bank account. So they save a little bit of interest, but it's still not all that exciting. Now, what if there was a way where we could take that money out of this account, have it continue to earn you interest while you drive your car around, right? Would that be interesting to anybody? Let's take a look at that. So this is the exact same thing. Now, this private reserve account, right? As long as you follow all the proper rules and designs, it takes a little bit of time. You do have to save the money up, just like you would to pay cash for, right? You can't borrow more than you put in there. But once you get that money in there, it's able to make money when the market's up and never lose it when it's down. In this example, we can get 14% of the upsides and take none of the downs. So with that, we're able to get good returns on our money. But on top of that, we could just withdraw the money and be done. But instead, these companies give us some better ways to be able to borrow this money, right? What they're able to do is they let us take a loan against our money. So our money there is collateral. But here's the cool thing. They give us 2 contractual guarantees. They guarantee that as long as there's money in our account, we will qualify to borrow it. We don't have to jump through any hoops. There's no credit checks. We're going to declare bankruptcy yesterday, and this will also be there, and we can still borrow this money. Secondly, they guarantee that they will never charge more than 5% no matter what happens to interest rates. This is important because even if interest rates go back up to 18% like they were in the 80s, guaranteed to never charge you more than 5%. And so what they do is they give you the money, you borrow that money at 5%, but they leave your money in that account where it makes money when the market's up and never loses it when it's down. In this example where you can make 14, that means you can earn 14 and only be charged 5% to pull it out. That means you literally make 9% on the money you borrowed to buy that car. That's a way better way to buy a car. But now let's be skeptics for a second, because I don't take anything at face value. Let's talk about the worst thing that can happen to you. Sure, that sounds fantastic. What's the worst thing that can happen? What can go wrong? Well, the worst thing that can happen to you is you take that money out to buy that car and the stock market tanks. You then earn 0% because that's the bottom you can earn. And you're still charged 5% interest, which means you're paying interest, just like everybody else with a car note. However, most car loans are not 1 year. Most of them are 5 to 8 years. Let's pretend it's still just 5 years. We took the worst 5 years in history. You take a look at it right here, 2000 and 2004, right in the middle of the screen there. Of those 5 years, the first 3 of them are negative. You earn nothing the first 3 years and are charged interest. You only make money during the last 2, and here's what happens. Now, we show you paying yourself back $471 a month. You don't actually have to pay yourself back, but since you pay back the car company, it makes sense to pay yourself back. You save a little bit on interest, almost $1,000 on interest. But even better, during just those last 2 years, your money earns you $3,000 while you're driving your car around, which means you save a total of over $4 grand on this car. So now instead of paying 24 grand on this car, 25 grand on this car, it's like paying 21 grand for the same car. Sound better to anybody? Now this is the worst 5 years. What if instead you did it during a good 5 years? This is 2010 to 2014. In 2011, the market was negative. You earned 0. So this isn't even a perfect 5 years.
Can you please change
your
the
money
screen?
made? Can you guys see it? It just changed. You see that new thing that rolled in there? It says $471 a month. I know it says this private reserve account. It's got a picture of a car.
Yeah,
We
You
can
should
see
see
it.
animation
That's
go.
fine.
it looks fine, Eric. You're fine.
Perfect. So you take a look there where it says private reserve account, right underneath that car, $471 a month. You're still paying yourself back even though you don't have to. But more importantly, instead of your money earning $3,000 during a good 5 year period, your money earned $15,000. Meaning if you didn't pay yourself back, there'd still almost be $15,000 new dollars in your account. And if you were smart enough to pay yourself back, you'd have the 25 you borrowed plus the 40 or plus the 15. That would give you $40,000 in your account tax-free. You could use to buy a better car, invest in real estate, and buy a business, send a kid to college, or retire on. This is the power of the private reserve account, guys. So let's just do a quick little recap. We're able to save our money in a place where it can grow tax-free. It can make money when the market's up. It can never lose money when the market's down. It's actually guaranteed and backed by some of the largest insurance companies in the world that you'll never lose money. Keeping it going forward, you're also able to take that money out of your account and continue to earn interest on that money. And it doesn't have to be a car. I can show you guys, I've got an example of buying rental property, investing in businesses, or doing whatever else it is you want to do with your money, because it's your money. And the best thing to do with money is to use it to make more money. Guys, that's what we want to have you be able to do, is to protect your money, keep Uncle Sam's fingers out of it, keep it from getting lost every time the market goes down, and give you access to it to be able to build and grow your businesses. Because that is the most valuable investment you will ever make, is in yourself. I mean, first time I sat down and I talked to Brian about this, I mean, one of his first comments to me was, look, there's no way this is going to make more money than me. And I had to agree with him. I said, you're absolutely right. That's the benefit of this. All you get to do is it's a place to store your capital while you're waiting to use it. And then you go use it on investing in you and investing in your businesses. And while you're making money investing in you, you're also making money in your private reserve account. So guys, the ability to be able to use this is incredible. Now, I do want to throw a couple caveats here about the negatives, because this is all about the positives, right? There are a few negatives. There's not a magic account that'll magically replace your bank account and go, hey, I got 50 bucks, let me chuck it in here, right? In order to keep the IRS happy and follow all their guidelines, rules, and regulations, we do have to follow some specific rules. And one of the things we discovered through doing that is that your money is not instantly liquid. Typically, it takes a couple years, 2, 3, 4 years for your money to become fully liquid. The first time you put money into the first year, that money is almost not liquid at all for the first year. You don't have more money liquid until you're 2, 3, 4, and 5. More of it becomes liquid. So it's still incredibly important that you get your cash flow up so that you can start having that money. Because one of the things we require at WealthMax is that you have a financial foundation in place, that you got your cash flow to be above your expenses, because we don't want you to be negative time. We want you to be positive time with your cash flow, right? On top of that, we want to have debt not weighing you down. When you are in debt, especially high interest debt, high interest credit cards, things above 5 and 10%, things above 20%, you are being someone else's investment. And you can't invest in yourself until you quit having other people until you quit being someone else's investment. And then you've got to make sure you've got adequate reserve, that if life happens, because life will happen, that you've got money in place, that you're not going back into debt to take care of that emergency, right? And once you have this cash flow, now we're able to start doing things like this private reserve account. Now, some people may already have IRAs and 401ks or be near to retirement, have 30, 40, 50, $60,000 in IRAs. We're happy to talk to you and say, hey, look, maybe the private reserve account makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. But like, that's the biggest one I want to talk about. Is it's not instantly liquid, and also has a little bit of a commitment. We want you to have $300, $400, $500 a month of additional cash flow that we can put towards the private reserve account, disciplined fashion, because that's the way the wealthy become wealthy, is through disciplined, steady investments. So we want to make sure that you're capable of saving $300 or $400 or $500 a month consistently without breaking your bank. Because again, to keep the IRS happy, there is some required contributions to it over a period of time once that plan is started. Now, we can design them to be what you need to, but it's not a replacement for a bank account, and you do need an emergency fund in place. So guys, this is what the WealthMax is all about, is helping you design a plan that fits for you. The private reserve account is an incredible tool that fits in many, many people's plans and absolutely helps them to be able to grow and build exactly what it is that they're doing. And that's why we want to share it with so many people. So Brian, I want to bring you back on, let you kind of, have the last word here, go through whatever you'd like to move through. But I just wanted to share all this stuff and how excited I am to, make this accessible to you guys, along with all the other planning that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Mic check, mic check. Boy, you got this thing down pat. Well, you fly through this thing. Did you breathe, Eric? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'll tell you, I do this 10 times a day. So yeah, it's kind of, I got it in here, right? It's just, I eat, sleep, and breathe this all day.
It's second nature, man. It's second nature. Yeah, we'll definitely take some questions. I think the main thing that I like for people to understand when I heard about this is you're right, guys. He didn't lie. When I saw this, I was like, Eric, I have a hard time investing in things when I know that I can get 1,000% return on my money. And then he showed me with my tax situations and the things that I was personally going through, how, in other words, we all have different situations. And my situation is a little different than most people's because of back taxes and because of previous fears and because of all these things. And he positioned this perfectly to show me how this account can be used for projected taxes as my income grows. So my point to you guys is there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. And everybody's method for using the private reserve account is not the same. So Eric, that floor and ceiling scenario, can you just tackle that real quick in layman terms? It'll never get as high as X, but it'll never get as low as Y because it's in the insurance industry. Can you just tackle that real quick, and then I'll take questions from the audience?
Yeah, so I brought up the screen again so you guys can see it here. So we link it. It's linked to a stock market index. And like I said, it's backed by some of the insurance companies. They use some unique options trading strategies to be able to do it, as well as insurances to be able to protect the asset from loss. You know, so there's a lot of hedging involved. I don't want to get too deep into this for all the people we have on the call. But again, the way it typically works is you get a floor. Those floors are typically 0. They can be 1 or 2 depending on what your, what your give and take is. And then you get ceilings. Those ceilings can range anywhere from a ceiling of 3% to a ceiling of 20% or even beyond. So what we really want to do is just to understand, look, you can anticipate that these over time are going to average 7 to 11, 7 to 10% is what you can expect on an average rate of return with no risk of loss. Some years you might actually get 20 and 24s in your account, but our goal isn't to get 24s or whatever. We want steady returns over time, right? Because steady returns over time is how we win. It's those, you only have to have big gains to avoid those big losses.
Okay, so nice. Let me ask you this. Okay, these are from the chat. Is this like an IUL, Eric?
Yeah, so for those of you guys who are wondering about this, some of you guys do know this. The reason what they're talking about in IUL is what's called an Index Universal Life Policy. So let me talk about that for a second since the question comes up. We don't often get deep into this in a group call. We go a lot deeper into it on a personal call because it can confuse a lot of people. Let me explain this. Not all IULs are created equal. And even IULs, people that use the same IULs, doesn't mean they're designed correctly, because the biggest thing about it is insurance, guys. Many of you might have done research on insurance, and if you haven't, you'll find out very, very quickly, insurance sucks. Insurance is a terrible, god-awful place to put your money that's not going to get you the return you want. And let me tell you why that's true. It's not the insurance, it's the agent. The agents often don't understand how this works, and the insurance companies, they want to sell you insurance. Insurance costs money. The more insurance you buy, the more that insurance costs and the less money you make, right? Because your money is going to pay fees. So the secret is you don't want insurance. You get just enough insurance because the IRS says it's one of the only vehicles that's allowed to be tax-free other than a Roth IRA. So we use it minimally.
Not able to
There
hear
is
him.
a correct way to design it. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, we can hear Eric. Hold
Can
on.
you guys hear me?
Eric, minimize your screen for me and bring me back. Let me come back to the controls. I need to mute everybody out.
Yeah.
Except for your.
Perfect. No, let me go ahead and stop me being the host. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Let me. Yeah, because I need to go back to a mute scenario real quick. I think that's it.
I'm going to give you. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me go ahead and figure out. Hang on. How do I make you the host? Participants.
Hold on. Let me see.
Here we go. I think I got you right here. More.
Brian.
Chat. Stop video.
You're still the host. We just need Eric just needs to stop sharing the screen.
There you go. Okay, gotcha. All right.
That better?
Yeah, we got you. So guys, just so you know, that's Eric's little baby that you hear. So we can't control that one. People thought that was another person. I muted Eric out real quick. That's his little one. He's holding the baby for tonight. So I'm gonna go through the chat real quick, and then Eric, I'll bring you off here so we can ask a couple of questions. Oh wait, I want to make sure you were done with the IUL comparison or scenario real quick. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, just real quick. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Apologize for that. Right? Never know how loud he shows up on the mic. He just decided to start babbling. So, anyways, the IUL. Yeah, we do use an IUL. It has to be very specially designed, and the truth is that most of them aren't that great. What has to be done is you have to care about the IRS and not care about insurance. So for those of you guys who may have heard some of these things, we want you to know a lot of the things you've heard about insurance are true. But when you take a look and take the time to truly understand the IRS, what you'll find is it's very, very different. So yeah, we do use an IUL, but again, I actually spend a large part of my day finding people who've been sold an IUL, told it's going to be fantastic, and do all these cool things we shared with you. But they've had it for 7 years. It doesn't even have what they put into it, and it's not doing what it should be doing because, unfortunately, somebody sold it to make a big fat commission and not to do what's right. That's why what we do at CalChoice as fiduciaries is make sure that everything we do for you guys is what's best and put the client first. And that's why MWR is partnered with us. So yeah, there is an IUL there. We don't hide it. We just want to make sure you guys understand the differences. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. So, and guys, and just so you know, this is an overview. Like everybody's situation is different. So when you do your consultation, you got to remember that's what WealthMax is all about. And Eric is going to give you guys some information tonight about how to get your consultation, and you can set it up in the whole nine. So I don't want the questions to be too specific to your personal scenario, because that's why it's private and confidential. He's a licensed, trained professional, certified. So there's certain things that only you and he can talk about privately that a whole group that needs to know anyway, right? So I'm just kind of keeping these questions generic in nature. Eric, what insurance company do you use? Is that relevant? I'm looking at the chats.
Yeah, so when you do use insurance, there's a lot of them out there, guys, and it's funny. The insurance company some insurance companies are better than others. We use a lot, you might recognize names like Allianz, John Hancock, National Life Group, Mass Mutual, whatever else, whatever it is, the insurance company is a little bit important, but more important is designing it correctly, right? So we have all the companies. We don't work with just one company. We broker everything out. We don't believe that anyone's the best, right? We just make sure that whoever's best for your situation.
Okay, got you. Okay. So life insurance is not required. Is that true or false in this scenario?
So life insurance, okay, so let's be very, very clear. The private reserve account, the only way for it to be tax-free is to use life insurance. The secret is you don't want that much life insurance. So yes, life insurance is required. Now, I have clients with cancer who can't qualify for insurance. How does that work for me? There are ways and scenarios where even if you can't qualify for insurance, the private reserve account can still be set up for you and your family. And we take a look at that through there. Again, guys, we don't want to focus on the insurance, because the insurance, honestly, is only there to keep the IRS away, right? And so we kind of go through that a little bit more in detail. You know what? Let me go ahead and share one thing, because this is kind of since it's come up, I want to share one more thing with you. Share a screen real quick. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. You still got controls, I believe. Let me know.
Here we go.
You should still be okay.
Here we go. I'm going to go backwards. This is the screen I jump over, right? This is something that we go over in every single consultation before you guys get a PRA. I didn't want to go over it because it causes confusion when it's not one-on-one. There can't be the questions, but it's come up now, so it needs to be addressed. So let's talk about taxes in the IRS, okay? So let's agree that nobody likes to pay for insurance. Would you guys agree nobody likes to pay for insurance?
Right.
Right. Yeah. So if you could pay $600 a year or $10,000 a year for the exact same insurance policy, everyone would obviously rather pay $600 instead of $10,000. And if some dude came along and tried to convince you that you should spend $10,000 instead of $600, that dude would have to have a dang good story and a dang good pitch to have any shot at getting you to spend 10 grand, and it probably still wouldn't work. That being said, here's my pitch: why you should spend 10 grand instead of $600. And it comes down to two questions. Question number one is, who sets a minimum you have to pay when you want to buy insurance? You or an insurance company? The answer is, of course, the insurance company, right? If you don't give them money, they ain't giving you insurance. That leads us to our second question. The second question is, well, then who sets the maximum you're allowed to pay? Most people go, well, the insurance company. Insurance companies want your money. You send them checks, they'll find a way to cash it, right? The next common response is, well, I do, because if they don't give me enough insurance, I'm not going to give them my money. And that used to be true. That's what the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers did. The IRS caught wind of it and wait a second. You're putting that much money.
Wait, hold on.
You guys,
mute yourself out, please, guys. Okay.
So that's what the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers did. And so that's what happened, is that the IRS actually got involved. And they said, wait a second, that's too good to be true. And now the IRS has limited life insurance. Why? What does the IRS care about? They don't care about real estate. They don't care about zoning guidelines. They don't care about speed limits. They care how many of your dollars they get to keep. Taxes. What do they put limits on? Things that stop them from collecting tax dollars. IRAs, 401ks, Roth, SETs, 529. So what does this tell us? If the IRS puts a limit on something, it must be good. Now, this is the sticking point, okay? Because this is why insurance works for this, but that's not why insurance is awful. Like I said, most people will go do a little research and find out insurance is not that good. And here's why. Insurance companies, their job, just like Fidelity's job to sell you mutual funds, the insurance company's job is to sell you insurance. So what does that mean? They train their agents to sell you as much insurance as possible. And the more money those agents, the more insurance those agents sell, the more money they personally make. And so that's how they're trained. They honestly, in many cases, don't even know there's a different way to do it. The secret to making a private reserve account work is you actually have to buy less insurance. The way the IRS rules work is very different than an IRA or 401k. An IRA says you're allowed to save X dollars a year, that's it. The IRS can't tell you you're not allowed to buy life insurance, right? They can't tell you you're not allowed to. So instead, they put kind of a funny formula together. Since they can't tell you can't buy it, they said, look, if you're a certain age and you buy a certain amount of insurance, you are then allowed to save a certain amount of money. If you'd like to put away more money, you must buy more insurance. If you'd like to put away less money, you can buy less insurance. So the secret is to ignore the insurance company. Pay attention only to the IRS, buy least life insurance legally required by law, and stuff as much money into it as legally allowed to. So back to our $600 or $10,000 story. $600 may be the cost of the insurance, where the insurance company and the insurance agent makes their money. But the IRS will allow you to save up to $10,000 that exact same plan. So again, the less insurance you buy, the less it costs. And then you stuff in as much as you're legally allowed to. But if you take stuff away $1 more, the IRS will come after you. So yes, life insurance is required, guys, but it's almost a side effect, right? We don't care how much life insurance you get. We don't care if it's $104,000 or $1 million. We only care that you're allowed to save the amount of money you want to save and have it all be tax-free. So I hope this hasn't confused too many of you. If it has confused you guys, not to worry. If you guys are ready to talk, we'll go over any detail and answer each one of your questions in an individual consultation. That's one of the reasons why really to avoid confusing those who aren't quite as savvy as those who might have done a little research to be more financially savvy.
Makes sense.
Hopefully that answers some questions.
No, it makes total sense. Okay, we screen down real quick. Let me look through here with people. Cancel your screen share. Okay. All right, let me move this chat real quick. Let me look. All right, in the chat, is a license required to refer clients to you guys? I would say no.
So there's two answers to that. One is, of course not. MWR is a great way to refer business to us. Now, if you want to be paid to work with us and get paid to help people do whatever financial planning there is, then you need the appropriate financial planning licenses. And MWR has set up a relationship with CalChoice, where if you are an insurance agent or a financial advisor and want to do that for your clients and learn how, or refer that business to us and just be compensated on it, then yes, you have to be licensed, because that's a rule of the industry, not of MWR or CalChoice.
Makes sense. Are there age restrictions to get a PRA account?
Technically, no. I mean, people over the age of 75 are hard to insure because that's there. But again, I have clients over 75 where we totally do it, or we use a child or a grandchild, because it's a great way to pass money on to a legacy.
Yeah, I think they were probably referring to the minimum, like on the lower side. Is there an age requirement, like a 13-year-old, 15-year-old, or is it ever too early?
Nope, it's basically birth and healthy, you're good.
Birth and healthy, okay, good. All right, if you already have insurance, can you use your existing policy to set up a PRA if you already have insurance? I think I know the answer, but of course you're the man.
If designed correctly, it's possible. Most often it's not designed correctly, but in some cases we have found some policies that can be fixed. Sometimes we can fix an existing policy. Other times we cannot fix an existing policy. Other policies, like I said, they're not all equal, but yes, sometimes you can if it's the correct type and it's designed correctly. So we just have to do that on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, so case by case. So yeah, guys, so on those kind of things, you want to set up your private consultation so you can see how you're set up. There's no one time with a lot of these things, you know what I mean?
Let me just kill the life insurance conversation from here. Guys, if you have questions more about life insurance, here's the deal. If you guys are qualified, where you've done the required steps for MWR, well, I've got my cash flow up, I've got my debt down, I've got my emergency fund in place, I'm close to, some of that stuff, and I'm ready, then book a consultation. All you got to do is go into your back office, go to WealthMax, and schedule a consultation. and fill out the form, and we'll ask you all those things. You know your income. Are you positive cash flow or are you negative? What's your debt situation? Do you have IRAs or 401ks? What does that look like? If you've done that, we'll talk to you one-on-one about your situation. And we'll talk to you whether the PRA makes sense or does not. And here's the thing. There's people who, even though it makes sense for, they just don't like it. And you don't have to buy it. We're not here to make you buy a PRA or make you buy insurance. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, just like Brian said. We're designing the plan for you, with you to be involved in that. We'll do it for you, but we aren't just saying give us your money. We'll educate you. We'll show you the options and give you the way. So if you're ready and you've done the first steps, just book the consultation. If you guys want to talk to me specifically, in the notes section, just request Eric Elam, right? My last name is E-L-A-M. It's male spelled backwards, right? So remember, I'm a male, spell it backwards, that's my last name. Eric Elam, guys.
Eric,
Otherwise,
what's one of the biggest misconceptions about I love when we do those averages, man. I think if everybody really understood that, you know, 50% minus 50% plus 30% minus, I really wish people understood in school how numbers can really be manipulated to prove a point, right? I think other than that whole scenario, how we've been miseducated on averages, what's another big misconception about some of your common investments that we really want people to take a closer look at understanding this, even if it's not on your Zoom, guys, do your private consultation. Eric, what's another big misconception out there about investing?
About investing, well, one is just that the stock market is the best thing since sliced bread. That's a common misconception that, it's the truth. People just get told that. Like, look, you just invest in the stock market. Anybody's selling something besides the stock market, they're just trying to take your money.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you know what? People in the stock market trying to take your money too. Right? Real estate is risky. Absolutely. Just like everything else. But real estate is a fantastic investment. A couple other things that pop up there, taxes. A lot of people think taxes are high right now. That's probably the biggest misconception I deal with. I have educated people we're at the lowest tax bracket we've been at in 80 years. So right now there's actually time to pay taxes. Because the taxes are going to go up later, you'd rather pay them now or later. Right? So that's the biggest misconception I deal with. And then that comes back to the IRA or 401k. If people have those, there are things that you can do right now. For the next 6 years, while taxes are at a historic low, before they're already written into law, they're going to go up in 2026. So we take advantage of the next few years to shift those assets to non-reportable accounts where they are tax-free. And we show people how to do that as part of their overall plan. So again, just that understanding of taxes are low, that's probably the biggest misconception I deal with right after the stock market is fantastic for everybody all the time. I just put all my money in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go with this one. I know you got the baby. I love our group. Somebody said the baby's not bothering me at all. The baby's just excited. We got a cool group. So listen.
I'll tell you, he's running.
I hear it back there too. But Eric, let me ask you this. You said something heavy just now. I think people miss this whole tax implication. You said guaranteed to go up by 2026. Like when you say that, that's not your opinion. I think people miss that. How we really need to get prepared now. And we always talk about preparing for war in times of peace. When you say taxes are going up in 2026, talk about the importance real quick of getting ahead of the curve in layman's terms. And why do you know that's going to happen?
Sure. For sure, guys. Well, people, I don't know about you guys, but I like to buy things on sale, like when they're on a discount. Love Trump or hate Trump, it doesn't matter. He came into office, he enacted the Trump tax cut. That lowered taxes for most people were even 9%. And his tax cut had an expiration date. They expired January 1st, 2026. All that has to happen in order for taxes to go back to what they already were is for Congress to do nothing. So is Congress good at doing nothing? Because if that's all they do, the taxes will go back up in 2026, 3 to 9% for most people. But if you take a look at the fact that Social Security is running out of money, Medicare is running out of money, the national debt is skyrocketing, coronavirus is costing trillions, and the government wants to give away more free stuff, where's that money coming from? It's coming from us. And this is another thing that most people don't realize. Because everybody on this call wants to be successful and make lots of money. If you make, as a married couple, filing jointly, $250,000 or more a year, you are in that top 10% of all income earners in our country. 150 puts you in like the top 15% of all income earners in our country. So when you hear the government talk about taxing the rich, they're talking about you for future you. realize that the taxes are going to go up on the quote-unquote wealthy. That's not $1 million a year. That's $150,000 to $250,000 a year income earners, which is where everybody on this call probably plans to be.
Got it. Well, that's a hell of a projection. Taxes are going up in 2026. The Congress does nothing else. It's going back where it was.
Yeah. It's not even in law, written down.
It's in law written down. Yeah, that's crazy. So, Eric, what do we do, man, to set up the consultations? This has been a good hour. I think it's a great introduction. A lot of people didn't even know what a private reserve account was. Guys, it's not for you to go out here to explain. It's not for you to wholeheartedly understand tonight. It's not for you to say he didn't answer my question. It's designed to get you to get serious about knocking out your maxes so you can end up in wealth maxes. These guys are incredible. So it's not designed for you to go out and try to do a PRA overview. It's just not. But Eric, what's the next step? I know you have a link or something you want to let us know what to do.
Yeah, so I'm just going to send you guys to your back office. Those of you guys who are with MWR currently, just go to your Wealth Max consultation in the back, schedule a consultation. There's a button for it. Fill out the form, enter your details, and we'll get your call book. If you want to talk to me, you can enter my name, Eric Elam. But look, all the Wealth Max experts are fantastic in all areas. You don't have to book a land and the PRA separate. We all do all of it. So just book a consultation. You can request me. You can let the system automatically assign you to one of the experts. We're all fantastic at it. We all love it. So we're here and happy to help. For those of you who are not with MWR, if you're looking at how you can maximize your tax strategy, get these things set up for yourself, for your family, then just get with the person who introduced you tonight and find out how you get access to MWR and all the services they provide.
Nice. And guys, we're going to begin land bank. We talked to Eric last week. We wanted to split them up. We're going to do another one for land banking, right, Mr. Elam?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We want to spend the time so we can answer your questions about that one too.
Yeah, we're going to do another one for land banking, guys. So, hey, go to your back office, set up your consultation. Guys, these guys are professionals. Please don't call talking about, what's the minimum I can do and all this. Go get your credit straight, get your taxes down, get your equity max and your bill credit. Make sure you're ready for the wealth max discussion. And I'm sure, Eric, real quick before you go, what are some pre-qualifiers? You're ready for your consultation if what?
Cash flow. Cash flow is king. You need to spend less than you make. And we want to talk, you need to be able to consistently spend probably $300 to $500 less than you make. Because if you can't save $300 to $500 a month, life is too tight. One flat tire is going to put you backwards. Debt is to at least be on the run, right? You have debt on the run. Doesn't need to be gone, but you need to have a plan for it and working on it. You need to have 3 months liquid cash in a bank account that says, God forbid life happens. A pandemic hits our country, you can't work for a couple months, you're not waiting on a government check. If I have a little bit in emergency, that's it. Now, if you've already got more than $30,000 saved in retirement accounts and you've got questions, you can book that consultation, even if you don't have that other stuff done, and we'll help you with it. But again, I would say that's the best and first thing you can do.
Nice. Guys, hit those back offices, set up your consultations, get cash flow positive, and call the guys at Cal Choice. We appreciate you, Eric.
Hey, thanks so much, Brian. Love talking to you guys. You have a great night.
All right, man. Y'all give it up for Mr. Elam. Hey, guys, if y'all want to stick around real quick, I can talk to you guys about something. Eric, well, thanks so much, man. They're going to make that happen. I said I was going to open up the, do a webinar the other day for some quick questions and answers, not about Wealth Max, but about business building. I have about 10 minutes available while I got everybody. If you want to put in the mode where you can come off.
Hey, what's going on? So, man, that was exciting, very exciting information. Hey, B. Woods, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about what you got out of that information. I know you're very familiar with the private reserve account, MWR Financial, but for those that are viewing, what really excited you about MWR's private reserve account, or just the reintegration? I can't even talk right. The energizing of Eric Elam in that conversation we just heard.
Got you. Hey, Jason, what struck me so awesome about the private reserve account is this, that you can become your own bank. Now you can earn higher interest rates than leaving all of your money in the regular bank that's been arbitrating you. Man, I never thought in my life that could ever happen. You know what I mean? When I used to go to the bank as a little child, the best thing I used to do was want to, get the suckers, whenever I leave. But now I'm realizing the people that leaving too much money in the bank were the suckers. Hey, no point intended, but just metaphorically. But the biggest thing is this, that it's good to be able to take back the power of your monies because you worked hard for that money. Why don't you, just like I was saying earlier, that why don't you see that money grow where your children can have a legacy where it stopped the vicious cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and not living the American dream that you truly want to. But the other thing on top of that is this. Now you're using money for what it's supposed to be used for, as a tool to make wealth real. That's my take.
Hey man, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a lot out of that video. I like to watch stuff. You know, when you see things more than once, it helps it regurgitate into your psyche to where now you can really articulate what it is that you learn so you can teach it to somebody else. And that's what I like about that. Let me slide over here because they just all in the camera.
Hey,
I'm like,
hey,
okay.
you know what it is? They want
They wanted a cameo.
they wanted the
They wanted
cameo,
a
man.
cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no cameos today. Not unless you try to join this team.
Okay.
But what I like about it is that I never had a real plan for my finances. It wasn't until I got with the Extra Digit movement and partnered with Make Wealth Real Financial that I really started thinking about my finances wholeheartedly. I used to follow a system, the Dave Ramsey Debt Snowball system, and I thought I was good. I thought I had my finances where they needed to go. But the thing is, I got to a point to where I wasn't, I guess you could say, broke, busted, and disgusted. I was making it. I was making it. And it wasn't until I got with the experts that I realized, I was still leaving money on the table. So much money that I could have already have started a better investment and started and working investments and building up that retirement fund a lot faster than what I thought I could have. It doesn't take a lot of money, but it takes consistency. It takes determination to do something different than you never done before. So immediately got in with the experts with MWR Financial. They got me a $200 a month pay raise. That $200 a month pay raise ignited me enough to tell some people about it, which started earning me. The experts got me $200. The information earned me $600. That's a total of $800 cash flow that I saw into my household within the first 60 days of partnering with Extra Digit Movement and the Make Wealth Real Financial Family. So when you talk about $800 cash flow, I was able to turn that $800. We're gonna get to this cash asset cash. I took some savings. The expert saved me $200 by putting it back into my check. And then I took some made money, non-wage income, partnered that up with that savings to equal $800. Now I rolled that into an asset, and that asset is generating me more money. And we're gonna wait till these jokers walk by with their little leaf blower because it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, I was inside freezing my butt off. I came outside to warm up, and now everybody want to come outside.
Hey, listen. Hey, they love what you talking about. Low key, they listening so they can take mental notes.
Oh man, it's funny, man. It's been a great day, man.
Yeah.
But when you find that you can invest with the savings that our experts are able to give you, people say they don't have the cash. Well, you had the cash. It's in your check, and if it ain't in your check, it's in all that money that you give T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, Hulu, Netflix, Advent, all those different monthly bills and expenses that we have every month. What if we pay less for those that'll free up some cash flow. You take the extra cash flow and pour that into an asset and allow that asset to produce more income for you. So that's what we're going to talk about, Brian, real quick in our next segment, our next hour, our last hour. So I'm going to come back in the next, I'm going to come back on in the next 10 minutes and we're going to talk about stop leaving money on the table and how your taxes are actually the dollars that can get you to the where the money resides. All right?
Wow. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, man, I'll see you in 10, bro.
All right, then. Too easy. Y'all be
All right.
blessed.